We scroll, we book, and we check in, trusting strangers with a key and a promise. But what happens when that promise is broken? When comfort turns into a nightmare? These aren't ghost stories pulled from fiction. These are 3 bone-chilling, true accounts from Airbnb guests who thought they were just getting away for the weekend. What they got instead was a one-way ticket into the bizarre, the terrifying, and the unexplained. Remember, these could happen to anyone, even you. So double-check that lock and leave the lights on. Here are 3 creepy, true horror stories from Airbnb stays. Story 1, The Mirror in Cabin 12. Allison needed to get away. After a tough breakup and burnout from work, she booked a solo trip to a remote mountain Airbnb called Cabin 12. Quiet, secluded, and cozy. Just what she needed. The listing mentioned a wood-burning stove, a hot tub, and oddly, an antique full-length mirror described as original to the house. Her first night was uneventful. She lit a fire, had some wine, and stared at the stars. But something felt off. The mirror in the bedroom gave her a strange feeling. It wasn't her reflection that was the problem. It was that sometimes she swore her reflection lagged behind, smiling when she wasn't. The next night, the reflection seemed to look directly at her even when she looked away. She chalked it up to stress. By the 3rd night, her phone wouldn't charge. No signal. She tried to call the host. No answer. That night, she woke up at 3:33 a.m. The mirror was fogged from the inside. Allison covered it with a sheet. But in the morning, the sheet was on the floor. A message was etched into the glass. "You looked first." Panicked, she packed up. As she fled, she glanced one last time at the mirror. Her reflection stayed, eyes widening, hand pressed to the glass, mouth forming words. "Don't leave me here." She slammed the door and ran. Later, she left a review. The listing was gone. When she contacted Airbnb, they claimed no such cabin was ever registered. Curiosity has a cost, and some reflections aren't yours to own. Story 2, The Locked Room. Jay and Marcus, a young couple from Chicago, booked a weekend getaway in New Orleans. The old French Quarter home they chose was charming, filled with antiques. The host greeted them warmly but gave a firm warning. "Please don't open the door at the end of the hall. It's just storage, locked anyway." They laughed about it at first. Jay joked it was probably a vampire. That night they heard soft scratching behind the locked door, then whispers. Marcus checked the lock, definitely secured. The second night, Jay noticed the door was slightly ajar. No one admitted opening it. Inside was only a dusty room with a rocking chair facing the wall. They shut the door, locked it again. That night, Marcus had night terrors, screaming in his sleep. In the morning, he didn't remember anything. Jay found scratch marks on Marcus's back. By the 3rd night, the door stood wide open. The rocking chair was facing out toward them. Jay set up his phone to record overnight. The footage showed Marcus standing in front of the locked door at 2:14 a.m. He whispered, "Let me in." The door opened on its own. He walked inside. The screen glitched. When it returned, Marcus was back in bed, eyes open, whispering, "She knows." They left immediately. Weeks later, Marcus started sleepwalking. Each night he stood by their closet, whispering to something unseen. I opened the door. Some doors are locked for a reason. Don't invite in what you don't understand. Story 3. Host included Tara, a travel vlogger, booked a minimalist studio apartment in Seattle for a 2-week solo shoot. The host, Nate, had great reviews and was supposedly traveling abroad. The lockbox worked fine. Everything seemed perfect. But the second night, she noticed something strange. One of her video SD cards was missing. She assumed she misplaced it. Then the bathroom light began flickering. The smart TV turned on by itself, always to the same paused frame. A black silhouette standing at the edge of the bed. Creeped out, she changed all the locks. But the next day, her laptop was moved. She reviewed her vlog footage and froze. In the background, during a room tour, was a man-shaped shadow standing motionless behind the curtain. Frame by frame, it never moved. But it was there. She called Airbnb. They promised to investigate. Meanwhile, she checked the crawl space beneath the unit. Inside was a cot, food wrappers, and used batteries. Someone had been living underneath. Police arrived. No sign of Nate. When they ran the host ID, it didn't match any Airbnb user. The account had been spoofed. Whoever Nate was, he wasn't the owner. The real owner hadn't rented the apartment in months. When Tara checked her footage again, the silhouette behind the curtain blinked. Sometimes the host never really leaves, and sometimes they never existed. Final note. These stories aren't just scary because they're unexplained. They're scary because they could happen to anyone. When we trust strangers with our safety, we hope for a vacation. But sometimes we walk into something else entirely. Lock the doors, trust your gut, and maybe just book a hotel next time.